Hi, and welcome back to Roam Away From Home. I'm Taylor, and today we're getting into one of the things that helped us start life on the road the most, boondocking. We're going to cover our 9 top apps for boondocking so that you can have a great experience from the start. First, let's talk about what is boondocking. Boondocking is essentially camping in your RV or in your schoolie or really anywhere where you are self-contained. So you have your own water system, your own toilet, your own power source, and you can live out in the middle of nature with no hookups, no plugins, and basically no assistance from others. Most of the time when I'm talking about boondocking, I mean free camping on public lands. So those lands can be federal or state. Federal is BLM, U.S. Forest Service land. Examples of state or state trust land or other preserves that potentially you could camp on for states. The great thing about this is usually you have way more space than at a campground. You have never-ending views, and a lot of times you don't get neighbors. So if you want to be more isolated, more out in the middle of nowhere, boondocking is probably for you. Our number 1 app is Overlander. This is where we find probably 95% of the places that we boondock. It's great for both urban boondocking, so if you're going to be boondocking in a city, and boondocking out in nature like I was talking about before. What we love about Overlander is you can filter by type of campsite that you're looking for. So you can have traditional campgrounds as well as wild camping is what the filter is in Overlander. You can also see dump stations, propane fill-ups, different types of showers, and even dog parks. Overlander is completely user-generated, so make sure to read all the reviews and all of the comments before you commit to a site. There are times when certain sites have been closed. An example of this is in California. It used to be very open to boondocking along the coast, and they have since crunched down on that to help combat the waves of people that would stay there long-term. If you see that a place is closed when you go to visit it, make sure to also mark that on the app. We've done that a few times. If you're using Overlander, definitely make sure to have a plan A, B, C, and D. Just because it's user-generated content, you're not 100% sure of its accuracy until you actually get there. Our second favorite boondocking app is Google Maps. We love Google Maps because you can store maps offline, and that really helps if you're going out to boondock where there might not be great service. So what you could do is take the GPS coordinates that you get from Overlander or a couple other apps that we're going to talk about, put them into Google Maps, and then save that area offline. You can also use the satellite view to specifically zoom in on those GPS coordinates and see how developed the camping area is. Some boondocking areas are just like a typical campground where everyone has their own little spot. Others are totally barren, and you can see if you're going to be crossing water or different inclines and everything by using Google Maps. Just make sure you download offline before you head out. You can use your data to download offline, but we typically like to go into a restaurant with Wi-Fi or something before we go into a new region and download that entire region offline so that we have it on our app. We do not need service to then access those maps. The third app that we really like for boondocking is CAMPENDIUM. We like CAMPENDIUM for finding campgrounds and RV parks as well. It has a big database. It doesn't have quite as many boondocking spots as we found on Overlander, but it does have a lot. It also has more images that are very clear, more reviews when there is a spot in CAMPENDIUM. Typically they have a more of a review database just because a lot of people use that for different types of camping. It also has a very user-friendly features to it. So a lot of these apps, since they're user-generated content, their user experience is a little bit downhill just because it's free, and they're not charging you for it. With CAMPENDIUM, you get a little bit of an elevated experience, but keep in mind that you should also check Overlander when you're going between both of them. Our fourth favorite app is one that we use a lot. It is membership-based. It is Harvest Hosts. Harvest Hosts allows you to boondock. You have to be self-contained actually to use Harvest Hosts. It allows you to boondock at vineyards, distilleries, breweries, museums, golf courses, a lot of local businesses, like art galleries even have it. You pay an annual fee, and then you're able to have access to all of these different Harvest Hosts. The way it works is once you actually go to a Harvest Host and stay at their place, you are expected to spend about $20 or more, and that's easy to do. If you're stopping at a vineyard, you buy 1 bottle of wine or do a wine tasting. A lot of Harvest Hosts also offer discounts to the people staying there, which is really, really awesome. We've found some amazing places doing Harvest Hosts, and it was one of the ways that we were able to affordably RV through California. We do have a 15% off discount if you want to check that out. I'll put a link below. Harvest Host also recently acquired Boondockers Welcome. It is another good boondocking site where you stay on someone's private property on their piece of land. Time will tell how that membership and that acquisition will work out, but we are thinking, and what Harvest Host has indicated is that you can add on Boondockers Welcome to your Harvest Host membership. It's similar to adding on the golf package, which we have and highly recommend as well. Our fifth favorite app is Gas Buddy. Gas Buddy is an awesome app for all RVers, whether or not you're boondocking, but we especially like it for boondocking because you can see where all the gas stations are nearby and what the price per gallon is. It has saved us hundreds, maybe $1,000 over the last year because we're able to find not only cheaper gas prices, we're also members. And so we actually get extra discounted rates on gas. A lot of times we save about 30 cents a gallon on gas every time we fill up the RV, and if you have an RV or a truck, you know that's a big deal. You could use this in the city as well, but also what's good about Gas Buddy is under the review section for different gas stations, they'll tell you if it has propane or if it's sketchy or all these different things. They have these different ratings so you can actually see what amenities and stuff are going to be at that gas station. When you're heading out into the middle of nowhere, you want to know where you can get ice, water, propane, air in your tires, and all of that good stuff, and Gas Buddy has all that information. Our sixth favorite app is one that we get the most questions on. It's how do we determine that we're going to have cell service once we're out there boondocking? We use an app called OPENSIGNAL. It's a free app. It's really awesome, user-generated content. So people do speed tests all around the country, and then they submit it by carrier, 5G, 4G, 2G, 3G, LTE. So you can actually filter it by, for us, we would do AT&T, and then the minimum that we would ever do is 4G. Typically, we like to do the 5G or LTE if possible. With OPENSIGNAL, you can see exactly how the service is by zooming in on the map, and green is good, red is bad. Pretty simple to use. It's very helpful if you're in an area where you're not sure how your cell service is going to be and you absolutely know you need to stay connected. This has saved us a lot of times from going into dead zones, and we work remotely, so this is really critical for us, and this app has helped us a lot along the way. Our seventh app is called Waze. Waze, you might already know it. It's like Google Maps, and it's a traffic app where you can do GPS, get from spot A to spot B. But the reason that we like it for boondocking is because we have been in a lot of situations with standstill traffic. The more you drive, the more traffic issues you're gonna encounter. So we've been behind fatalities or behind huge road construction zones, and we don't know what's going on, and we don't know how long to expect the delay. Google Maps can only do so much. Waze is really cool because you can actually track how quickly Waze drivers are driving. So other people that have the app activated on their phone, it'll show their exact speed, and it'll also have a chat. So you can chat with other drivers to say, hey, do you guys know what's going on? I see you're at the front of the traffic stop. A lot of times they'll respond back saying, fatal accident, plan to be here for a couple hours. Sometimes they'll say, oh, there's a minor crash and people are just slowly going around it. It's just really helpful to plan how long you're going to take to get to your next destination, because when you're boondocking, you do not want to arrive after dark. Number 8 is the Weather Channel app. And this is a great app to have anyway if you're a camper, RVer, outdoors person, or you just like the weather. But we have the premium version of the Weather Channel app because we can see detail radar. So the wind streams, the different temperatures, precipitation, even road conditions. The Weather Channel app shares it all. And why we like that is because when you're boondocking in a new area, you want to make sure that there's not huge wind gusts the day that you plan to move. Because in an RV, driving in the wind is just never worth it. That's where you see those horrible fishtail accidents. So we always check the Weather Channel app ahead of time. It tells you by hour what the wind speeds will be from which direction, because that also makes a difference. If they're coming from behind or in front of your RV versus side to side, that makes a huge difference. You can look on the radar app to also see the different temperatures. This is really helpful boondocking because a lot of boondocking spots are in higher elevation or near water. So they're actually cooler than the surrounding city areas if you're close to a city. We use this to plan for the coolest weather boondocking in Arizona over October, because that's a month where it's hit or miss. We also used it to plan for the warmest weather boondocking in the winter months during the deep freeze and all of that last year. The last favorite RV boondocking app that we use is RV Dump Stations. This app, I think it costs $1 still, is really helpful because you can see dump stations nearby. It has the biggest database out of any of the apps that we use. So we use this and Overlander to find local dump stations because you gotta know where to put your poo at the end of the day. For us, the first thing that depletes of our resources is fresh water. And so anytime that we need to go out and refill fresh water, we want to do it in a place where we can also dump our tanks. That way we're totally empty, full of the good stuff, and ready to hit the next boondocking spot. RV Dump Stations has a lot of different information, and make sure to read reviews because not all places are open at all hours of the day. That sums up our 9 favorite apps. If you want more boondocking tips or links to these apps, make sure to check out the blog. I'll put it below. And again, if you want 15% off of Harvest Host membership, which we truly love and use all the time, I'll also put that link below. Subscribe for more RV life and remote income videos.
Pulling out of that KOA on the road in our Chevrolet. Turn right at the Texaco, then anywhere